Hello, my lovely primary 4 students. I'm Mrs. Dua, and this is our first lesson in Concept 3, Speed. To enable engineers and car designers design safety features and look for new ways to keep drivers and passengers safe, they use data collected from scientists during their study to various crash incidents. Exactly like what we are doing when we collect evidence from the concepts we study, as we did in Concept 1 and 2. Do you remember some of these scientific terms that may help us explain the anchor phenomena that focuses on the science of car crashes? We studied some information about force, motion, work, and energy. عشان الساينتست يقدروا يصمموا safety tools تساعد الباسنجرز وتمنع الحوادث، ابتدوا يفكروا ويجمعوا evidence زي ما احنا كمان بنجمع evidence من الكونسبتس اللي خدناها. We talked about force, energy, and motion, and all these will help us in our unit project, which we are going to design a tool that will protect passengers from injury during collision. Do you remember in Concept 1, starting and stopping, what we learned? We learned that the objects move when there is a force that causes motion. تعلمنا ان الobjects هتتحرك لما يبقى فيه force, whether this force is push or pulling force. These forces can change the direction or the speed of moving objects. We learned also that work is done when force is applied on objects, and to apply a force you need energy. This is why we defined work as the amount of energy we need to move an object for a certain distance. Have you noticed what I said in the definition? Energy? Yes, we have studied energy in Concept 2. What about energy? قلنا إيه عنها? In the concept of energy and motion, we knew when any object starts to move, its energy transforms from potential energy into kinetic energy. عشان أي object يتحرك بيتحول الطاقة من potential energy طاقة الوضع لطاقة حركة. We also learned many different examples of kinetic energy, and we will apply all what we have reviewed together right now to anything around you so that you can remember the information. For example, this car here. Let me push it, and you will tell me the reason for this car's motion. Exactly. The car moves because of my pushing force. What do I need to push the car? Exactly, I need energy. لازم هحتاج طاقة عشان أقدر أعمل pushing للcar. Then it moves. So where does my energy go? My energy moves from the body to the car. So the stored energy transforms from potential energy, the one inside my body, into kinetic energy that moves the car. What if I push the car with greater force? Let's try this. What words you can use to describe the car's motion? Does the car move slowly or with a greater speed? Yes, it moves with a greater speed. Speed. Speed is in fact one of the factors that causes car crashes, and which we will explore in Concept 3. In this concept, we are going to focus on 2 key vocabularies during the lessons, and also the relation between them. What are these 2 key vocabularies? إيه الكلمتين اللي هنركز عليهم؟ The word speed, which we have mentioned before, and the resistance. Also, we are going to use terms we have learned before in the last 2 concepts, like force. You can find these terms and key vocabulary in the student book, page 186. Now, get your book and tools to start our first wonder lesson. Look at the picture in your book, page 187. This is one of the trains we call high-speed train because it can travel at high speed and by which we can reach our destination in a very short time. Do you know what I have remembered when I said speed? I remembered the truck and the aeroplane. In Concept 1, we talked about them. When we inserted the jet engine on the truck, it moved quickly. Think a little about the energy that the truck needed to move very fast. Indeed, it needs a large amount of energy. Let's watch the video to remember this. Okay. What if we got to high-speed train and wanted to travel from عين السخنة to العلمين? How can we measure the speed of the train? This is our main question that we are going to study in Can You Explain activity. In Can You Explain activity, we need to think about and explore the answer of the question, how can you measure the speed of something moving fast? I want to remind you that our answers can be simple sentences that might have information we studied before. As usual, at the end of each concept, we will get back to the main question again and construct a scientific explanation with evidence. For now, open your book on page 187 and start answering the question. I guess some of you may have thought about the race of truck versus airplane, and that for the engineers to measure their speed, they made each one move the same distance and used stopwatch to measure the time each one will take to get to the end. عشان الساينتست يقدروا يقارنوا ما بين سرعة الايروبلين والتراك، خلوهم يمشوا نفس المسافة وابتدوا يحسبوا الوقت. One of my students also remembered a marathon he watched in TV. Contestants have to run a certain distance in a specific time with full speed to win. Another student in my class remembered when he was traveling, the car was moving very fast on the road, and he asked the driver how much time we will take to arrive. The driver answered, "We are moving 60 kilometers per hour, so we may take about 3 hours to arrive." We will explore all these things during the activities of this concept. But let's agree first that cars and trucks are not the only object that move quickly around us. There might be other things that have super speed. Super? Doesn't that remind you of something? Yes, the 5 super senses of the animals we have studied in Concept 2. Do you remember it in Unit 1? As many animals have super senses, there are also a lot of animals that have super high speed. This helps them in adapting with their environment. Let's discover more about that in Activity 2, Ask Like a Scientist. Do you know the fastest land animal? In other words, I mean the animal that moves on land and really fast. It doesn't live in water and it's not a bird. Can you make a guess? The fastest animal that lives on land is cheetah. Do you know the cheetah? It is the fastest big cat on the planet. ده أسرع حيوان بيعيش على الأرض. Let's imagine a race between the cheetah and the high-speed train from عين السخنة to العلمين. The distances between the two cities are so great. It's about 450 kilometers. How much time does each one would take to arrive? I expect if a train travels a certain distance in 2 hours, the cheetah will run the same distance but in less than 2 hours. أخدتوا بالكم أنا قلت إيه؟ لو في مقارنة ما بين الشيتا والترين هما الاتنين هيمشوا نفس المسافة. I think that the cheetah will take less time. We will explore this investigative phenomena, cheetah speed, together, and we are going to know the amount of energy that cheetah needs to run super fast and to be called the fastest land animal. Let's now watch the video, and as we used to think about different questions that starts with what or how. Like how fast is the cheetah? Or what amount of energy does the cheetah need to run about 10 kilometers? Get a paper and a pen to record your questions. Now we are in concept 3, speed, in the first wonder lesson. Let's watch the cheetah video.
Okay. Not too quick in slow motion. But wait till I give him the signal. Go!
And boom! Ho! Check it out. Look at that. How's that for speed? 6.4 seconds to do a 100-meter dash. Let's go check this fast cat out. Hey, sweetheart. Good job. You did great. Look at that. 6.4. That's a personal best for you. These are amazing cats. And you know what? There are so many physical characteristics that contribute to the cheetah being the fastest cat as well as the fastest terrestrial mammal. I mean, all sorts of things. You could check out the black stripes under the eyes, which cut down glare. So that way, when it's going fast, it doesn't lose track of the antelope. Or how the claws are always extended. They never retract, giving this animal extraordinary traction. The svelte design. But to really experience this fast cat, you've got to see it frozen in action, which I can do.
Have you observed how fast the cheetah is? A cheetah can run 100 meters in just 6.4 seconds. It's less than half a minute. That make me ask a question. What are the physical characteristics that make the cheetah the fastest land animal? يا ترى ايه هي الخواص اللي موجودة في جسم الشيتا خلتها أسرع حيوان؟ Let's continue the video to know more.
Excellent. The very rare African cheetah. Voila. It is captured in still life just for you, no? An amazing animal, but what are the physical characteristics that gives this animal, the cheetah, the ability to be so fast, all right? Let's begin at the head. What you'll notice is that the head is low to the shoulders. Why? Cuts down on wind resistance. Eyes are set back so there's not too much glare. Big nostrils to bring lots of fuel in this case oxygen, to keep those muscles going. Check out the torso. Very long, very aerodynamic in its shape. Check out the limbs. Equally long, so as they reach out, bigger gain means faster speed. And check out the tail, all right? It's kind of like the tail of a kite. Keeps it balanced, keeps it steady. It's a natural rudder as this animal moves forward to take down its prey.
I'm sure you will find an answer to our question. The first special characteristic that the cheetah has is its physical structure. Physical structure, يعني we are talking about the cheetah's body. The cheetah's body is lightweight and it has long limbs. Lightweight يعني وزنها خفيف, long limbs يعني أطرافها طويلة. The lightweight make its motion easier and the long limbs help it to take huge jump while running. Its head is low to the shoulders. راسها قريبة من الشولدرز بتاعتها, which cuts down air resistance. والair resistance دي نوع من أنواع الفريكشن فورس اللي بتقاوم الحركة. So when its head cut the air resistance, it will move faster. It has strong claws like the hook, so it can push it forward as it runs to better push off the ground. Large nostrils help the cheetah to breathe a lot of air easily, as well as its long tail keeps its motion steady while running and turning to change its running direction. التيل بيساعدها إنها تغير حركتها بسهولة. Let's open the student book on page 188 to read the text to know more about the cheetah speed. Remember to underline any new information and think how we will compare the speed of the cheetah to the car speed. The first part of the text talks about the cheetah speed compared to other means of transportations. Cheetahs can go from 0 to 96.5 kilometers per hour in 3 seconds. Let's draw this. The cheetah can go from 0 to 96.5 kilometer per hour in only التايم اللي هتاخده 3 seconds. What about the car? A fast car can go from 0 to 9.6 kilometer per hour in more than 4 seconds. A car will go from 0 to 96.5 kilometer per hour in 4 seconds. What about the train? A high-speed train takes 37 seconds to reach 96.5 kilometer per hour. الترين عشان سرعته توصل من 0 ل 96.5 kilometer per hour, it will take how many time? 37 seconds. Can you see the difference? Who is the fastest one? Also, one of the cheetah's physical characteristics that attracts me while I started the second part of the text, particularly this sentence. It has large, oversized, powerful heart. The cheetah's spine is flexible and acts as a spring for its legs. عارفين يعني ايه spring؟ زي السوستة. الvertebrae بتاعة الشيتا زي السوستة. It helped it to move fast. Why does the text compare the cheetah spine to the spring? How is this related to the cheetah's speed? When you pull a spring, it stretches. Let's see this part. When you pull the spring, it stretches, returning to its position when I leave it. This is like the spine's shape. تاني بصوا لما السباين بتاع الشيتا بيتشد بيتفرد جسم الشيتا بيتفرد and when we leave it أو when it jumps هيبتدي يرجع تاني مكانه. It is the same like the spine shape. It also helps the cheetah to extend its body تطول جسمها while running at the top speed. I want you also to search for this question. What does the relation between the size of its big heart and its speed? إيه علاقة البيج heart بالسبيد؟ Let's open the book on page 189 to record our questions about the cheetah's speed and the amount of energy it needs to run at its high speed. Record 3 questions using what you watched on the video and what you read in the text. As usual, our questions may start with words like why, how, and when. Your questions can be about the speed of the cheetah or its physical characteristics, شكل جسمها. Also, it may be about the speed of other means of transportation compared to the speed of the cheetah. I'm sure you have a lot of questions like my students. I'll share some of their questions. Do the objects around us move at different speed or move at the same speed? يا ترى الحاجات اللي حوالينا سرعتها مختلفة ولا نفس السرعة؟ What amount of energy does the cheetah need to start running from 0 to 96.5 km per hour? How does a cheetah be lightweight help it run fast? إيه علاقة وزنها الخفيف بسرعتها؟ Some of my students also wonder, what does the meaning of speed and how can we measure it? What is the meaning of 60 km per hour? And what is the relation between distance, time, and speed? دي أسئلة كتير قوي. To start the exploration of the questions we all shared, we will move to activity 3, observe like a scientist. In Observe Like a Scientist, we will talk about objects move at different speeds. Has any one of you thought before about calculating the distance he walks from his home to school? حد فكر يحسب المسافة ما بين البيت والمدرسة؟ How much time do you take? I asked my student to calculate the distance they can walk in 4 minutes. Let's see what Ahmed said. Ahmed said he walked for 4 minutes and asked his father to use the GPS on his phone to calculate the distance. It was 400 meters. يعني أحمد مشي 400 متر في ال4 دقايق. Another student said he walked 500 meters in 4 minutes, which means he walked longer than Ahmed. Me too went out for walking and found that I walked 300 meters in 4 minutes, which means I walked less distance. The three of us walked different distances within the same time. كلنا مشينا نفس الوقت بس كلنا ما عملناش نفس المسافة. This means that the speed of our movement is not the same. So how do you know which object is faster than the other? Like in races, how can we say that one runner is faster than the other? Or decide which one is the fastest runner to win the race? I'll give you time to think of an answer. Then we will watch a video. Remember, I want you to record any speed, time, or distance you hear or watch. Let's watch the video.
This is high school junior Gary Haynes. And this is him about to attempt to throw and catch his own football pass. Unbelievable. No wonder this clip has 30 million views. We caught up with Gary and his lightning legs in Manville, Texas.
I play wide receiver and I also play defense. My high school career has been pretty good. I'm known for being pretty fast. I never told no one I was trying to catch my own pass. I was just out in the yard playing and I just picked up the football and just tried to do it and it happened.
Go!
I posted it and I had people texting me, calling me.
You observed how the player throws the ball and runs fast to catch it by himself. This makes us conclude that the distance traveled by a ball at a certain time is the same distance the player needs to run. أكيد أخدتوا بالكم إن البلاير حدف الكورة وكان بيجري وراها عشان يمسكها. ده معناه إن المسافة اللي الكورة مشيتها زي المسافة اللي البلاير كمان هيمشيها. Do you think that he could arrive quickly and hold the ball if the player walked instead of running مثلا? For sure he cannot, because there is a difference between walking and running. I mean, if you walk down for 5 minutes about 3 kilometers, you might have longer distance if you run. So the more the speed increases, the more the distance increases. كل ما سرعتي هتزيد، كل ما المسافة اللي أنا همشيها هتزيد أو هجريها طبعا. Let's continue watching the video.
Coaches, I was like, what? It was crazy.
Go! So how can Gary complete this incredible personal pass?
We can analyze the video to gain enough information to calculate almost exactly the speed at which Gary must throw the ball in order to achieve this trick. First, we can analyze the angle at which Gary threw the ball, and we find that it's about 64 degrees to the horizontal. Taking into account wind resistance and the acceleration due to gravity, we find that Gary has to throw the ball at about 55 miles per hour to successfully pull off this trick.
That is impressive, because NFL quarterbacks can throw only 5 miles an hour faster. Go! How quick is Gary moving to catch his pass?
Gary runs about 40 yards before he catches the ball. He covers that distance in about 5.3 seconds, which means he's running at about 16 miles per hour.
So if you want to complete your own pass, you just need lightning legs and an NFL arm. Easy peasy. Way to throw, Gary.
Did you write down your notes about Gary's speed and how he can catch the ball? I'm sure you are thinking about what the player does to move and run at the same speed as the ball. Let me share the notes I collected with you. In general, when players throw the ball with greater force, its speed is 8 kilometers per hour. What's different about Jerry is that he can throw the ball at the speed of 88 kilometers per hour. لو حد بيشوط الكورة بسرعة بيشوطها 8 كيلومتر per hour، بس جاري بيعرف يشوطها 88 kilometers per hour. For Jerry to do this, he uses a great pushing force so that he transfers a great amount of energy to the ball. What did you observe about the speed and the time Jerry needs to catch the ball? Jerry runs a distance of 6.9 meters in a second. 6.9 meters in a second. It's 6 times more than the distance that any player can run. سريع جدا. The distance and the time are the factors by which we can conclude that Jerry is the fastest player. Time and distance هما اللي خلونا نحدد إن جاري لعيب سريع جدا. I'm sure we can explore more about speed in different examples around us. Let's read the text on page 190 to observe how the objects around us move at different speeds. Can you think of the common factor between the runners, horses, rockets, and cars? Excellent, it's time. Each object travels a different distance but at the same period. يعني الأوبجكتس اللي أنا قلتهم دول كلهم هيتحركوا مسافات مختلفة بس في نفس الوقت. Which is 4 minutes. So we will find that the fastest runner runs a distance of 15 player grounds in 4 minutes. 15 player ground. The horse runs the same distance of 15 player ground and return within the same 4 minutes. الهورس راح ورجع في نفس ال 4 minutes. This means it runs greater distance at the period. So the horse is faster than the Jerry runner. What about the distance the rocket and the car travel in 4 minutes? The car travel twice the distance the horse travel in 4 minutes. But the rocket travels the greatest distance in 4 minutes. So we will think about the speed. We need to consider حاجتين. طول ما أنا بتكلم على السرعة لازم أركز جدا في الديستنس والتايم. The greater the distance the object can travel, this means it is fast, the fastest it is. And the less time the object take to travel also indicate that the object is fast. عشان أحدد السرعة هنركز في المسافة والوقت. كل ما المسافة كانت كبيرة يبقى كده الأوبجكت ده سريع، وكل ما الوقت كان قليل يبقى كده الأوبجكت ده سريع. We have come to the end of our lesson. Be ready to revise together what we have learned. We learned about the investigative phenomena, cheetah speed, and the physical characteristics that make it the fastest land animal. اتكلمنا ايه اللي عند الشيتا خلاها حيوان سريع جدا. We discovered more about the objects around us that move at different speeds. اتكلمنا على الترين والكار والهورس. We concluded an important result that we would use in our next lessons, to think of time and distance when thinking about speed. Now, it's your turn to prepare yourself for the next lesson. Think of the question, what does it mean by 60 km per hour? يعني إيه 60 km per hour? Thank you, my lovely students. Be ready for our next lesson. We will know more about the speed and how can we calculate it. Think also, what can you use to describe speed? Do not forget to revise the lesson till we meet in our next lesson. See you next time.